today's webinar is the right tools to guarantee success. This is part of our sales success webinar series. So every month we're coming out doing these webinars for you, leveraging our training partners, Buffini Co, Richard Robbins International, The Leader's Edge, all those guys to come out and really help you gain some sales skills. I do remind you that I will have some time at the end for some Q&A. So do feel free to ask questions. I'll ask Billy those questions at the end. Keep chatting. I love to see it. And at the same time, a lot of people ask about, is this webinar recorded? Can I rewatch it? You can rewatch this webinar immediately. So you can actually pause this webinar if you needed to, rejoin live. That's the joys of YouTube Live. So, you know, Joanne, by the way, says she misses you too. So nice.
Fair enough. Yeah.
In terms of that, I do want to remind you that this is all part of Royal LePage's promise to you. And that's we're going to help you maximize your earning potential by providing you with powerful business tools, access to leads and referrals, and training for all stages of your career that builds your skills. And that's why we do these on a monthly basis. So you can find all of this under RLP Network, under training and webinar training. Specifically, you'll see underneath there the Sales Success Webinar Series. You can see all our past library of webinars, so you can access stuff there and see, and you can actually pull down if you want to drill down into presenter and speaker and all those stuff. You can check that out. But with that said, my quick little introduction, I want to kick things over to Billy. Now, Billy himself is a business coach and captain with Buffini Company. He's been there for 14 years. We were having a quick chat just before about like having gone through that 2007, 2008, 2009 period, to have seen such a big change for realtors in the US must have been absolutely fascinating. So I'm really, really excited to turn things over to Billy and talk about the right tools to guarantee your success.
Thanks, guy. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me today. My Canadian friends, it's one of my favorite events. We come up to Toronto, usually the end of November, December every year. And it's one of our best events. I do enjoy coming to see the Canadian people. It's a refresh from what we have going on down here with the craziness in America. But we're excited to serve you guys. I'm excited to be here today to present to you guys. It's a little break in my day. I coach 75 clients one-to-one. I'm their personal consultant. I have one or two on this call. So this is kind of something else I get to do for the company. I've been a business coach here for 14 years. I'm one of the coaching captains. I'm a presenter. I'm a trainer within the company. I train the coach. I help train the coaches. I'm not the only one. We have several that do that. And I'm just really excited to be here today. And if you could, grab a pen and a piece of paper. I'm a big believer that you can pause this. You can write a couple of things down. I'm going to say some things you're probably going to go like, oh, I want to capture that. So most of the time, if you show up with a pen and piece of paper, life gets a little easier. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. This is Buffini Company. We actually have a headquarters in Carlsbad, California. We have over 250 people that work there. That little thing you see on the right is our sequence fountain. So what we do is we believe that everybody starts at survival and you work your way up to stability, then success, and then significance. And when you get to significance, it overflows into every portion of your life. So that's kind of the sequence of that little fountain right there to the right. It's right outside our lunchroom, and we kind of like it. All right, so here's the deal. I'm a business coach and a presenter, but I'm going to talk to you guys today as if I'm coaching everybody on the call. And my goal is that I'm going to give you guys some great information, I hope, from a coach's perspective, kind of coach you up a little bit. And then at the end, as we would ask you guys to do, I'm going to ask you guys for a referral. I'm going to probably ask you guys, if you're interested in what we do, to take advantage of it and show you kind of what we have going on. So it's kind of a give, ask, receive. That's kind of how we want you to do with your clients. You want to give them value in the beginning. You want to ask for their business, and you want to open yourself up to receive their business. All right, so give, ask, receive is the model, and I'm going to try to do that for you all here today. All right, success is simple. It really is simple. Now, you can cross off simple and next to that, right? It's not easy, but it's simple. So it doesn't mean it's easy, but it is simple. All right. Use the technology to speed things up. We're going to teach you how to use technology to speed things up. Now, here's the deal. You notice that a car has a gas pedal and a brake. So if you drive around with the gas pedal on all the time, you're probably going to get in an accident. If you drive around with the brake on all the time, you are probably not going to go anywhere. So I have clients that I don't do technology, or I'm technology challenged, or I was born in a different generation. That's okay. Those are the people with the break. And then there are people who only do stuff with technology. Everything has to be technologically advanced. Everything has to be run automatically in their life. And those are the people that can overwhelm themselves with too much of it. So we're going to keep it simple. We're going to use it to speed things up in the right direction. So next to speed things up, you can write in the right direction. And the next thing we're going to talk about is the right tools. The right tools. So I was redoing my condo this year, and I think I spent more in buying tools at Home Depot than I would have had I hired a freaking contractor to actually help me out, because I didn't know the right tools. So I bought like 17 different freaking screwdrivers. I bought a thing to redo the floor with. I own stuff I'm never going to use again. I don't know if you guys have had that experience in real estate. So I'm going to talk about the right tools, if you will. All right. So success is simple. Let's just get started right in here. Have a clear target. So what do you want to achieve? What do you want to create for yourself in your life? You want to write that question down. That's what you do every day. When you go to work, you create something for yourself every day. Now, to do that, you have to have a clear target. When I go to work, I want to create 27 families that I'm going to help buy or sell a house this year. My goal is to do 4 transactions a month. My average sales price goal is X. So you need to have a clear target, not 100 clear targets, but we need a clear target for your business. The second thing is you got to narrow your focus. So once you get your clear target, okay, my goal is to sell 27 homes this year. Great. Okay, so my goal, I know it snows up here. I'm from downtown Los Angeles, so we have Santa Ana winds is the closest we get to a weather pattern down here. But where you guys are, I understand that the market's a little slower when it's snowing, and then it speeds up. So maybe your first quarter target is of your 27 homes or 30 homes that you want to sell. Maybe it's 4 the first quarter and 18 the next quarter, because you know it's going to speed up. So you narrow your focus to your quarters. So maybe you're planning a little more lead generation time in quarter 1, because you know in quarter 2 that you're not going to have a ton of time for lead generation, because there's going to be a lot of clients going out and seeing things. So you I have family that are farmers in Ohio, and they plant all spring, and then they know in the fall they're going to harvest, that kind of thing. So maybe that's your calendar. So you narrow your focus. So you narrow it to the year, then you narrow it to the quarter, then you narrow it to the month, then you narrow it to the week, then you narrow it to the day, then you narrow it to the half day, and then you can narrow it to what do I need to do right now? Okay, so constantly narrowing your focus. All right, write this down. What actions am I going to take in real life? What actions am I going to take? So you have a focus, you have a goal. So you say, I'm here, I'm at X, and I want to achieve Y. The question is, what actions am I going to take in real life that significantly move me in the direction of what I want to create for myself? What actions am I going to take in real life? So things that aren't actions. I'm going to think about a client party. I'm going to figure out when to call this client. Those are not actions. Actions would be like, I'm going to lay out a marketing timeline for a client party that's going to occur in mid-June. That would be like an action. Okay. So the next thing is we take action. All right. Use technology to speed things up in the right direction. So you want to write that up, in the right direction. Okay. Use technology to speed stuff up in the right direction. All right. So one of the things we do is once you have a clear goal and you target your goal, we have the fundamentals you need to use technology. So we say things at Buffini & Company like, we believe that if you have a database of clients and you send them an item of value in the beginning of the month, hard copy mailing, and you do an e-report in the middle of the month, those let them know you're in business. They're kind of like you having a storefront, right? That's a fundamental, all right? If you say, I'm going to call people every day between 10 and 11 a.m., then you use the technology to see who you should call, what you might say to that person, and then be able to track it, right? So having a good fundamental, like I'm going to choose to write personal notes at this time. Okay, who do I write the notes to, and how do I keep track of those notes? That's how the technology matches with what you want to achieve, all right? All right, if you have poor fundamentals, but you add more technology to it, you just fail faster. So if I have somebody that isn't making outgoing phone calls to their database to let them know they appreciate them, or maybe invite them to a client event, or if I have somebody who's mailing 7,000 people each month or emailing 7,000 people each month, they don't know if they're in their database or not, and they're responding to every person that opens an email maybe. If we don't have good fundamentals, we don't know if that person is an A+ client, a B client, a C client. We don't know if they'd use us and refer us, but yet we can treat that person like we would a referred lead. So we invest in that person like they're a first-class passenger, and they're buying that ticket. You know, they sell now that ticket online where you can't even bring a bag on the airplane. You have to like basically walk on without your shoes, and they let you put those under your seat if you're lucky. So if you treat everybody like they're a first-class passenger, then you wind up diluting where you're going. You'll wind up in the middle and coach. So we have to treat the first-class passengers like they're first-class passengers. We need to get the coach people to do such a great job referring you out that they become first-class passengers, right? All right. So the next thing is use the right tools. The first tool you have, the biggest tool you have, I would say, is your database. So let's define a database real quick. A database is defined as a list of relationships. So a list of relationships. So then somebody says to me, hey, Billy, so I want to have a database. How many people should be in my database? I said, well, how many people do you have that you have relationships with? And they say, well, I don't know. And I said, well, that's the key, is how many people can you have relationships with and do such a great job that they refer you out for years and years to come. That is your database. And I don't know that number. It's kind of like a river. You're trying to fish in the spot where the fish are. Okay. So I write this down. A database is a list of relationships. And the number is how many people you think you can have relationships with. I have a client that I coach in Washington, D.C., and he has 250 people in his database, and he'll do 60 transactions probably this year and make, I don't know, 2-3 million net, 2.5 million net. And I have a person that's in Kansas City, Missouri, and he has 450 in his database, and he does one client event every quarter. And he calls his whole database every quarter and invites them to a client party. And he has a team of 7, and he'll do probably 3.5 million this year. So the challenge is we create the database to get you to your goal. So what size database do you need in order to achieve where you want to go in your business? And then once we get the database, we need to qualify the database. So a well-qualified database is going to be somebody who's told you they use you and refer you. They would use you and refer you. That qualifies them to be in the database. So a list of relationships of people who've told you that they would use you and or refer you. So if you look at this target, A+ people, those are people who've told you or that have referred you multiple times. Multiple referrals in the past 24 to 36 months. So A+ are multiple referrals in the past 24 to 36 months. And then A clients are people who've referred you a deal in the past 24 to 36 months. B clients are people who have told you they'd refer you but haven't done so yet. And C clients are people to be moved up or moved out to D. And D clients are people that we do not market to. That doesn't mean they won't come around at some point, but that's just somebody that's told you they'd use you and or refer you, or hasn't told you they'd use you and or refer you out. They said, you know what, right now my brother's sister's wife is my realtor, and I think I'm going to go with her. That's okay. It's good to know. Okay. So a well-qualified database.
One question I have for you on that, Billy, can I ask? Because
Sure.
I mean, I've been to a lot of Buffini training myself, and always talked about the A+. But I mean, you mentioned some timelines in there, but like, at what point am I reviewing this? So let's say you're one of my A+ clients.
Yeah.
Right. And I got you in my database, so you sent me a bunch of referrals, but maybe that was like 2 years ago. At what point do I say, well, you're moving out of that A+?
Yeah, it's a very good question. And you're going to answer it, not me. I'm just going to give you the kind of the guidelines. Usually we say 24 to 36 months. We want to review that. And then we want to decide like what we've done also. So like, let's say that you've been in pretty good contact with them. You've taken this A+ to client to lunch once a year, right? You've done a couple pop-bys a year. Pop-bys are what we call where you go and see the client and take like a little gift to them when you don't have to, just to show you that you appreciate them, right?
Yep. Yep.
So let's say that you do that and you've been running the program. So if I would ask you a question like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you've educated this client and deepened the relationship over the past 2-3 years? And you'd say 8.
I haven't talked to you very much.
Okay, great. So that would be like a 3, right?
Yeah.
So then I'd say, okay, so is that somebody that you, based on what you've done, do you believe that they've had the opportunity to remain there, or are you moving them to A+ because you're being passive aggressive with them?
Yeah, I see what you're
like
saying.
you're not doing the work, but you're kind of expecting the result.
Yeah.
And then I'm okay with whatever, as a coach, it's your business, right? So I just want to put up the mirror and go, hey, if you're telling me you did on a scale of 1 to 10, you were at a 3 in educating and deepening the relationship with the client, right? And over the course of the last 3 years, that person showed up like a 3.
Then I'm getting what I put in. Yeah.
So yeah. Then
Give,
I'd
ask,
ask you,
receive.
yeah. Then I would ask you, okay, so is that what you want to do, is move him down, or is that a relationship you want to leave there for a while and try and deepen it? And then you would make that decision based upon your goals.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, you bet. So a lot of times it's a good question, because a lot of times as a coach, it's not about having the right answer. It's about co-creating the plan that gets the realtor client, in my case, to their goal.
Very cool.
Yeah, you got it. So we have a tool called Referral Maker CRM, and I know you guys have a tool. I'm just going to lay out what ours is designed to do real quick. Our tool is designed to drive your business plan. You put in your goals, and it tells you who the best people are and the best frequency for you to contact to get you to your goal. It's really that simple. And if you'll notice, our CRM is not about putting everybody in. We talked about this a little before the call, Mike. The reason we wouldn't put everybody in here is because we want to keep it like these people. This is like a really clean place that these people have told us they'd use us and refer us out. So that when you go in here, you can do any amount of work with anybody, and it's an ability to generate a lead. So like we have a little area that you can see on the screen where it says Action Center. Like if you don't have any idea who you should call that day, this list will tell you who you should call. If you don't have any idea who you should go pop by to, this list would tell you who you could go do a pop by to. It allows you, it's like a GPS for your business and your business plan. So a lot of people have a CRM and then they have a business plan. We've just combined the two so that you can open this at any point. If you kind of stay up to date with it, you can open this at any point and go, okay, based on my goals, here's where I stand. And here are the best things I can do that are going to significantly move me in that direction. All right, so that's our CRM. It's designed to integrate the contact program with the business plan, and it's designed to drive you toward your goals. One of the pushbacks we get is, why wouldn't we put everybody in here? And I can understand that. And my pushback is, with any CRM, like I like everybody in my iPhone, but that's not my lead generation tool for my business, right? So it'd be like, if you have a house, you don't park your car in the kitchen, you park it in the garage because that's where the car goes. You wouldn't like cook breakfast in the bed. You may have breakfast in bed, but you probably wouldn't cook breakfast in the bedroom. Right? Unless you live in downtown Los Angeles like me and it's like a loft, then the bedroom and the kitchen are fairly similar. But the key here is that you separate it so that when you're in lead generation, you can sprint, right? We talked about keeping it simple. And when you're not in lead generation, then you can tiptoe. So a lot of people will get into a CRM and they'll play around and they'll track everything, but that doesn't actually mean that they're out physically generating a lead. It means that they're kind of keeping track of. Okay. All right. So those are the right tools to do that.
Can I ask you one question about, because the other pushback that I get a lot in terms of CRM when I'm talking to people about it, and it's same as you, it's like, you want to use a CRM that really helps your business, but some agents seem to be somewhat have almost a phobia of logging into their CRM every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to know from you, like, what, are you hearing this from the agents you're coaching, and how are you kind of helping them say, hey?
Sure. Yeah. One, I'm hearing it. Yes, you're correct on both that. Two, it's not really, it's the same phobia with their checking account, right? So I don't want to look at it till the end of the month because I think I'm in the ballpark, but if I'm low, I don't want to see how low, right? Or
Yeah.
right? But I tend to look at the CRM in the forward and not the reverse. So the way we do it is we put in like, here's your goals for the week, right? It'll tell you what your goals are for the week, and it'll tell you where you stand in relation to your goals, what you want to achieve. So people tend to open the CRM. Like, I'm not opening the CRM so I can look backwards and like beat myself. I don't need to whip myself, right?
Yep.
But I do need to use it in the windshield or the forward. So like if people drive their cars, I ask them, I go, do you use the windshield or the rear view mirror when you drive your car? Like, what are you looking at most of the time? And they're like, well, the windshield. I'm like, okay. On airplanes, they don't even go in reverse. Like they have to push those things around the tarmac. Like they don't actually go backward on their own. Right?
Yeah.
Because they're designed to go forward. So if you use the CRM like that, then what you say is, okay, today I'm at, let's say we're Wednesday. Today's Wednesday at 1-ish your time, right? 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Yeah, and there's people from all over Canada, so you're good.
Sure. We're midday. How's that?
Midday, I'm in.
All right, we're midday. So we're midday Canadian time, and you've done 10 notes, and your goal is to do 20 this week. So if you're using the CRM properly, or if you're using the technology efficiently, then what you say is, okay, I have 10 left to do. When am I going to do those between now and Friday at 5 when I end? When am I going to finish my 10 notes so that I achieve my goals? So you're using it to determine what your future looks like, not to beat yourself from the past. Okay. The other thing that I tell clients is that think about a GPS signal. This referral maker is a GPS for our client's business. So if you take you go out, the reason the GPS works is because it goes up to the satellite and comes back down often. If the GPS goes up to the satellite and comes back down 2 hours later, and you've been driving for 2 hours, you're significantly off track. And what people don't understand about off track is if, let's say we have 2 ships and both ships leave the harbor. Okay. And they're 1 degree off. So we're both leaving, let's say, New York, and they're both 1 degree off. So they're supposed to be going parallel right to the western side of Europe, but they're each 1 degree off. By being 1 degree off, you realize that over time, one ship winds up in like Sweden and the other ship winds up in like Africa by just being 1 degree off. So 1 degree is not a big deal over a day, but if you take 1 degree over a week, a month, a quarter, a year, that's a significant deal in your business. Let me give you an example. If we say we're going to do 1 client party a quarter as a business plan, okay?
Yep.
And we're off by a degree, that would be, we do 3 parties instead of 4 a year, right?
Yep.
So every year we plan to do 4, but we do 3. Okay. So over the course of a 10-year period, we're down 10 client events, right?
Yep.
Okay. And let's say we earn 2 referrals that close per client event, right?
Yep.
That's 20 client events over a 10-year period. That's 20 deals that we lose over a 10-year period, or 40 deals that we lose over a 10-year period, right? Or 20 deals. 20 deals over a 10-year period,
40,
right?
Yeah, 20. Yeah.
20.
Sorry, I'm wrapped up in your words now.
That's okay. So if you take it and multiply it over a decade and you work by referral, those people buy every, 4 to 7 years or sell every 4 to 7. So if they stay in your database, you're probably losing around 50 deals over a 10-year period. So if you're making, $15,000 a deal and you lose 50 of those, it's a significant amount of money over a decade.
Yep.
Do we agree on that? So the degrees matter. So that's what I'm saying is that you don't have to use the program to look backward, but we need it to be a GPS. So going forward, you're significantly tied into what you want to create for yourself and your family.
I see why your coaching clients love you, Billy. Like, I am so geared up. Anyways, okay, I'll let you keep going. That was awesome.
Fair enough.
All right, I'm going to digest those words.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So what we want to do is, but it's a good question, because your goal is that you look at the tracker and you go, okay, I'm at 10 today and I want to be at 20 by Friday. Then the next question, if you really narrow your focus, we talk about narrowing your focus. Your next question is, okay, what am I going to do? Take action. Remember the lady with the arrow. Okay, you guys are Do I need to go back to the lady with the arrow? Go. All right. I take action, right? So I have 10 notes between now and Friday. What action am I going to take that is going to get me to 10 notes? So when am I going to write those would be the question. So if you want to achieve that, that's the process to go through. And that's how technology helps you achieve your goals. Otherwise, technology just keeps you busy. Okay. All right. So the mayor campaign, qualified database is somebody who's told you they'd use you and refer you out. We came up with this dialogue because we were saying if you were running for office or mayor of your town, you'd have to go ask people for their vote. Okay. So here's where it gets funny, because I coach Canadians and they hate this. And I coach Americans and they hate this, but Americans can be more pushy. Like, I'm your realtor, right? And the Canadians sometimes are like, so if you guys were buying and selling, have you ever met a realtor? Because they can get a little too polite. So we came up with this dialogue to kind of merge the two. So here's how it looks. Oh, by the way, if you were buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, do you have a real estate agent you would refer them to? Now, if you know somebody significantly, like you have a relationship with them, then yes, there's a dialogue for somebody. Like if you're going to go to your friend who you play golf with on Fridays and you go, hey, I got a question. If you were to buy or sell a house, am I the agent you would use or refer out? Okay. You don't have to go through the whole do you have an agent thing. But what I will tell you as a coach is I would have you memorize this word for word, because if you do not, it comes out like that telephone game in the 6th grade where, you know, the story starts with a poodle and by the end it's a dinosaur. So if you guys can memorize it word for word, you'll be able to pull it out of your pocket and have the discussion. This is the drawbridge to the database. This is the drawbridge to working by referral, that people have told you they use you and or refer you out. So I would memorize this. The other thing that comes with the mayor campaign is I'm going to give you a couple tools to go around this piece. And I know I'm honing your focus right now, just so you know, this is the focus piece we talked about. Is I'm going to break this down into the minute so you can use this. A lot of times people don't want to be pushy, so they don't want to ask this question. But I also think that you don't want to take people's business for granted. Like everybody thinks that's kind of that they should have to earn their business. You wouldn't want to go around assuming that people should use you. So I would say that in the beginning. So like as an on-ramp, you can say, hey, because I don't want to be one of those realtors who would take your business for granted, would it be okay if I ask you a business question? Because I don't want to be one of those realtors who would take your business or your referrals for granted, would it be okay if I ask you a business question? That's called priming. It's a sociological term, priming. And what that's designed to do is to get their focus into like, okay, we're out of friend mode. This person is treating me like a business person and they want to ask me a question and I'm open to that. Like you're trying to get them into that mode. And then you can say, if you were buying or selling or had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd use or refer out? Now, do not assume as a heads up that people are going to jump in your database, okay? And if anybody ever been fishing and just rode the boat out and been like, hop in? That's kind of how we do with real estate is we row the boat out and we're like, hop in. So what I like to tell my clients is I want you to picture yourself, anybody that you have a relationship with. And if you are sitting in front of their house and you see another agent sign in front of that house and you're like, thank God they're using that agent because I don't want to work with them, then you don't have to use this mayor campaign. But if you were driving past the house and you saw another agent sign and it would piss you off that that other agent sign was in your friend, family member, coworker, acquaintance's yard, then at that point, you would want to use the mayor campaign with them and say, you know what, I just don't want to ever take your business for granted. Would it be okay if I ask you a question? And then let them tramp across the drawbridge into the database, or they have another realtor, and that's okay. Because if they have somebody else they want to refer, you don't want to be loading yourself up with work that you're going to do in a relationship that's not going to work out. Okay. So that's the key to the mayor campaign is you can use that little on-ramp on the way in of, I don't want to be one of those business owners who would take your referrals for granted. Would it be okay if I ask you a business question? And then in your head, I want you to make a list of everyone you know that you haven't used this with, this is the minute, remember narrowing your focus? You make a list of everybody in your database or in your sphere that you haven't used this with in the past 24 to 36 months. And if you saw another realtor sign, you'd be like, I'm good with that. Then don't use it. But if it would kind of piss you off that another realtor had their sign in your friend or family or coworker's yard, then at that point you need to use this or you become passive aggressive.
So that ties into one of the questions that we have in the chat here, Billy, and it's just perfectly timed with it. So I have a realtor asking, she says, I'm running out of people to contact on my database. She has approximately 100. She says, I feel like I'm harassing them after a while. They love her, but they say they don't have people to refer her to. So she's like, how can I get more people to use this campaign, the mayor campaign, on besides open houses? And that's coming from Andrea Clark. She's with Royal LePage team.
Awesome, Andrea. So I'm going to answer your question, but I would ask you another question first. So go through your telephone, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Facebook, the whatever technology you use that's appropriate, and look through that and go, okay, who's not in my database that I haven't used the mayor campaign with that would piss me off if I drove by their house? Because I want to collect all the easy stuff that's at your feet. To start with that. That's how I would coach you, is to say, if there's any, I mean, literally, I would go through your phone book or have a friend go through your phone book and pull it up and go, okay, contacts, Josh Thompson, Joanne Aristotle. I'm actually going through mine right now. Melissa Adams. Like, do these people, do they live near me? And if they sold with me, would it, or didn't sell with me, would it piss me off? That's the first step. The second step you ask about is at the open house, where you're doing open houses. That's a good way to add people to your database. That is the reason for an open house, by the way. There's two reasons for an open house. One is to show that the person that you're trying to sell the house, you're actually doing work for them. And two is to open yourself up to be able to become the servant of other people, which is using the mayor campaign. So at the open house, you would say, hey, what brought you in today? And they might tell you and say, you know what? I run my business a little differently. I work by referral. We met today under different circumstances, but would it be okay if I ask you a business question? If you were buying or selling or had a friend or family member who were, do you currently have an agent you'd use or refer them to? And if they say no, just say, I'd love to stay in touch if that's okay. And they'll say yes. And you say, if I wanted to send something, where would I send it? And if I wanted to follow up, what's the best number to reach you at? And then all you do is say, great, I'll be in touch. Then that person goes in the database. And then obviously, if you work in the program that we teach, you would send a monthly item of value at e-report. They'd get invited to a client event. You do a pop-by. They would be part of the program that you run. Okay. Does that answer the question, Mike?
I'm nodding furiously over here. Yes. Okay.
Fair enough. Awesome. No, yeah, fair enough. I just want to make sure that because I'm trying to I'm trying to coach Andrea like a coach, and I want to present too, but I want to make sure that me having that discussion with, or that coaching interaction with Andrea, I want everyone else to kind of sit on the sidelines and go, okay, yeah, I could see where I'm not. There's 30 people that aren't in my database right now. If I look at my contacts, there's some people that if I drove by their house, no, I got to put them in the database, right?
Yeah, that's great, man. Thank you.
Yep. And as a coaching, as a client, I may ask Andrea, I may say, let me ask you a question. So how much is your average sales price, right? And what's your average commission? How much are you worth per deal? And I'd find out. And let's say she says $12,000 a deal. Let's just throw out a number. I might say to her, okay, then that's literally a $12,000 question. So if you're okay not making $12,000 from that person, then don't use the mayor campaign. But if you would like to earn their money, potentially earn their business, that could be worth 12 grand at some point in the next 4 years, then I would use the question. That's where we narrow the focus. Remember we talked about, that's how coaching narrows the focus to that potentially is a $12,000 question. And I'm okay with whatever you decide, but just know that if you don't ask it, you guarantee you don't get 12 grand. Okay. All right.
It sounds awesome. I'm digesting your words again.
No, you're good. I just want to make sure if there were any follow-ups to that, I want to make sure to answer those. So are you good on that thread, or you want to?
Yeah, no, she said yes, thanks. I think she's in the same boat. It's like, oh yeah, it's tempting right now for people, I think, to pull out their phone and start looking, but I'll say stick around.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So marketing resources. We provide stuff. Royal LePage provides stuff. Everybody provides stuff. You have to figure out what's the most efficient, effective way to get you to your goal. If it's the Royal LePage stuff, use it. If it's our stuff, use it. If it's something else that you want to buy because you don't like it, use it. But a lot of times what we do is we put together an item of value that's made just for the Canadian market that gets information about the Canadians. And that's broad because Canada is a big country and we have one for the American market and it's broad. But this piece is not a care piece. And we're going to get into contact care and community. This is a I'm in business piece. This is a storefront piece. This is a I'm operating an organization piece. Right? Care is a different thing. So it's hard to get a certain level of care in just a marketing piece. You want people to go, oh, that's cool. They're in business. I see them working. That's about what you're looking for out of that piece. Okay. We provide 100 of these each month. You get a glossy sheet. We provide 50 note cards for you to write each month. They're different each month. Now, I will tell you, just for funny's sake, that we don't do the winter snow cards past like March. And I know this year that would, you guys would need snow cards until June. So you may see some summerish cards earlier than you guys are used to.
That hurts.
And I'm sorry, I had to throw one out there. I couldn't help it from LA. All right. But anyway, so we provide this each month. And the goal here is that it's plug and play so that this becomes something that's more automatic and that you're using it automatically and that you're spending more of your time deepening the relationships in other ways that I'm going to get into right now. And then these are the tools that we use: voice-to-voice, face-to-face, old school mail, and email. So voice-to-voice means call your clients, set up a chat with your clients online. You can do the Google Huddle thing with clients. You can take them to lunch. You can do what we call a pop-by, which we have little tags that go with them. But pop-bys are basically you take a gift or a little trinket of some kind. I don't want to say a tchotchke, but like a little gift that's of cool value. Maybe like I have people that are in the cold market that'll do windshield washer fluid or hand warmers in the wintertime. I have a guy doing like Kentucky Derby stuff because that's his thing. He lives in Louisville this time of year. We have the basketball tournament down here. I had people that had a client party for the college, the NC2A basketball tournament. And they went around with little basketballs as invitations to their client party the week the tournament opened. So we can figure out what type of those, but that's what we teach people to do. And then obviously old school mail, which is you write a handwritten personal note. If you write a handwritten personal note, it's almost guaranteed that it's always read. Think about this. The last time you threw away a handwritten note without it being read, just think about that in your head. I can't guarantee you they're going to read our marketing pieces, and I can't guarantee you that I don't read any credit card offers, but it's hard for me to throw away a personal note. And it takes your most valuable asset, which is your time, to write it. So if you're talking about something that's guaranteed to get in front of somebody, it would be a handwritten personal note. I mean, they may not show up for lunch. Like you may schedule a lunch and they may miss a lunch, but you write them a note, it's almost guaranteed they're going to read it. Okay. And then email obviously is one of the things that we use as a way to connect. So we would email people so that we open that medium so that down the road, when we send out an evite for a client party, that is a care piece versus an e-report, which is a mid-month informational piece that's similar to the item of value at the beginning of the month, but in the middle of the month, it just touches them again. I'm still I'm business. I'm still running my storefront. Okay. All right. So contact care and community. So care are personal notes. Personal notes. Pop-bys would be under care, right? Community would be client parties, business to business, breakfast, lunches, dinners, business networking. That would be community. And then contact is obviously your calls, your items of value each month, your e-reports. So this is really like a symphony. I get clients that go, coach, I'm into everything, but I won't do the calls and pop-bys. Okay. So that'd be like you going to the symphony and going, you know what? I like the symphony, but no horns and no percussions. Everything else we're good with. The violins but no horns, no percussions. Flutes, we're good with those. It's kind of not a horn. It's a little horn, sideways horn, right? So you got to think about it that we need to play all the symphony. It's just a matter of what we play more and how the music looks. So we may be extra in notes. And then for community, well, let me ask you a question. You won't do pop-bys, but if we have a client party, will you go take the invitation to the party to your best 30 people? Just drop by their work, their office, their home, and say, you know what? I wanted to put this in your hand. I'm having a client party to thank people like you for referring me out. If there's any way you can make it, I'd love to see you. Will you do that? Oh, people, yeah, I'll do that. We do a reverse pop by where we host an event where people come pick up a gift from us. We do one of those in November called or October is Canadian Thanksgiving. The client appreciation pie party where we'll buy pumpkin, apple, whatever kind of pies, and then they'll come to us the Tuesday before the Thanksgiving and pick up the pie. Okay. I have a client that's doing a reverse pop by. Now I'm just synergizing right now, throwing out ideas, and then maybe you'll latch on or spark something in your head for Father's Day. He's doing one of the people in his database owns a donut shop. And for open houses, he always picks up a dozen donuts for the open house, or 2 dozen, depending on how big it is, right? And he's hosting a reverse Father's Day pop by at the donut shop. So people come to the donut shop and they pick up a dozen donuts on Father's Day with their kids. And he's going to be there from 8 to 10:30. Now that's a reverse pop by. So it depends on how we mix that in. Maybe we do 1 or 2 reverse pop bys a year, but that doesn't mean you still don't go out into the community and take a gift to people to let them know you appreciate them. Taking clients to lunch, that could fall under community. Under community, we would do things like, if you have a business mixer, maybe some of your business owners would like to help you with the client event. So one of the guys in San Diego, we have a thing. You guys ever heard of the taco? We have a taco guy, and he basically comes to your house and has a little barbecue, and he makes these little Mexican street tacos, and then you can have people over to the house. And anyway, it's a really cool deal. And so he had people over to his house for the taco guy. He was near the beach kind of thing. And that was a client party, and his lender and him sponsored it, and his lender wanted to pay half of it. When you have a client party, maybe you tell your business owners, hey, I'd like to invite you to my client party. I want you to meet all of the people that I get to refer you out to. Think about it this way. Let me ask you this question. Let's say you picture yourself, you got a financial planner, and the financial planner calls you and says, hey, I'm hosting a client party for my high net worth individuals. These are all of the people that I refer out real estate to you. Do you think you can make it to my party and interact with all my high net worth people and hang out with them? You think that's a possibility? Can you fit that into your schedule? You'd be like, what color dress or tie? And you have the ability to do the same thing. You have the ability to get all your clients together if you really have a database, and get your business owners to really understand the value of coming to a client party with a little name tag that says Billy's Butcher or Billy's Baker or Candlestick Maker. It doesn't matter. Because these are the people that you refer out to them, and you're creating community. So it kind of fits together, contact care, community, and we play it like a symphony is what we do. And out of that, we earn referrals. But the key to it in the beginning is that you're doing contact care and community with people who've told you they'd use you and to refer you. Otherwise, you become a gigantic pen pal. Or when you call them to do a party, they think that you're going to be part of an MLM, right? Or when you bring them gifts, they're going to think you want them to buy Girl Scout cookies because you're showing up. Okay? So contact care community on top of a qualified database. All right. All right, so here's kind of what we do. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to kind of take a look at what we do. If you want to earn 11 times the national average, this is an American number. I'm pretty sure it's close on the Canadian side. You're going to get a complimentary coaching session. So what I've done now is a complimentary presenting session. You would talk to one of our membership representatives. They put you through a complimentary coaching session. And it's buffiniandcompany.com/CCS, buffiniandcompany.com/CCS complimentary coaching session. And then just so you guys know, I'm going to make you aware of it. We're actually having a 3-day sale. It's not based on the fact that I'm doing this presentation. It just started. But they're having a 3-day sale. So if you've been in coaching before and are thinking about maybe getting back in, they're going to offer you a month or a month and a half, depending on when you got out. And if you've never been involved, they're going to offer you a significant discount on the way in. So just go ahead and sign up for the complimentary coaching session. But that sale is like a 72-hour thing. And I know it sounds like we're timing it and all that. We're actually not. This is just how it worked out. So I want to offer both of you guys those things. And hopefully you got some value out of the stuff that we talked about today. And I want to answer any questions because I know, Mike, you said you wanted to leave some time for Q&A. So that's my gift to you guys, complimentary coaching. And then there's the sale going on if you choose to take advantage of it. It's a 72-hour sale. So hopefully you guys do.
Nice. Starting now.
I don't know, actually, but call us up. We'll figure it out.
One of the questions that somebody asked in the chat was about saying a lot of his clients are French speaking. So do you have any French marketing material? And that comes from Dave McKinley from Roy Lepage Expert in Laval.
Yeah, we do. It's a little different. So sign up for that complimentary coaching session, and that what they'll do is they'll walk you through exactly what that looks like. And if we can, because here's the thing with coaching, we offer 3 levels of coaching and several different marketing materials, lending, realtors type of thing. So like if one-to-one coaching, we want to find you the best fit. Like some people, we have like where we call Referral Maker Pro, which is just where you get all of the material and you coach yourself. And by the way, some people are their best coach, not me, but they need to coach themselves, right? And then we offer group coaching where you get in a call with 8 or so other people, and people like the synergy. It's kind of like group exercise. Like they'll go work out if other people die with them. And then there's one-to-one coaching where people like the targeted one-on-one, like these are my goals type of thing. So we want to get you to the best fit, whatever that is. So that's why I say sign up for that. I don't mean it flippantly. I mean, like, I want him to experience that item of value, and they'll have the right thing to hand him.
Nice. Yeah. And that's yeah. Let me see. I mean, I'm looking through, we actually answered some of the questions while we were going through the webinar. So I'll invite it to anybody out there. If you want to type in the chat, send out a quick message. I wanted to ask one thing I wanted to ask in terms of the coaching, because I am interested, curious. And I mean, it's fascinating. It's great to have somebody who literally is doing this on a day-to-day basis, but how does like the coaching, and you alluded to the 3 levels there, but how does the coaching kind of coachee relationship work? Is it like you setting up a time every week, or is it like how are they going through this, and how are they sharing their stats with you? Or, I was just curious.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So what we do is you get a professional business coach. There's 53 of us right now that are professional business coach at Buffini Company. And our average coach has been here 9 years. So they're significantly tenured. And then what we do is we have 2 coaching calls a month. So we're going to get a business analysis from you, kind of like we have to get up to speed on where you are. You fill out a business analysis. And then based on that, you're going to tell us what you want to create for yourself in your life. And then we're going to co-create action steps that get you to what you want to create for your life. We meet twice a month. We do half-hour calls twice a month over the phone. We used to do them longer, but we found out that it turned into like 15 minutes of like other things that people could be doing. And we used to do them more frequent, but that didn't give enough time for people to go out and take the tools and either succeed or fail or learn from both of those. So it's twice a month. It's a half-hour coaching call where we dial it in. We huddle for, that half hour. And then obviously we also co-create your plan. Your coach is your coach all the time. So like if you need an email about something, or you have a question, or you're like, I'm stuck on this, like there's no reason your coach will email you or call you back. And then we use the Referral Maker tool as a platform, so we can kind of see the playing field, so we can see what you're doing. You can kind of like show us what we're doing, and that we take the stories out of it. Because if I can't see as a coach what you're doing, it's like, well, let me tell you the story of what I did, and I want to know just what you did. Does that make sense? So we use that platform, and then we break out the numbers, and we track our numbers, because we want to be able to let our clients know that, like, I know my average client last year. I know the number that my average client earned last year, and I know the number that my median client earned last year. And a lot of that has to do with geography. A lot of it has to do with the tenure of my database as a coach. But I know like my patterns of clients, and the reason is because we track our numbers.
Cool. Joanne, by the way, from Welland, was saying, she said, have Billy talk about the heritage profile.
Yeah, so good. So what we do, I don't know. See, no, she's actually helping me. This is why we work together well. So every coaching client that gets signed up, after we kind of get them off the ground a little bit, what we do is, meaning we get their database up and qualified and get them moving toward playing the symphony, like I used the metaphor earlier. We get them what we call a heritage profile, which is an in-depth analysis of their skills and abilities It's designed to figure out what they're really good at, and we lean into that. And then we put in systems to manage the things that they're challenged with. So if I have somebody who's very competitive as a coach, I'm going to lean into like competitive discussions. Or if I have somebody who is a little in their rhythm, they're a little slower. That doesn't mean that they're slower. That just means that the pace with which they work through stuff is a little slower than I'm rapid. So I have to slow down. So I know as a coach, if I get a client who is a little slower, then I as a coach can't give her 74 action steps and 12 client parties and all that other stuff. Like we need to be in their rhythm, kind of like you guys would with your clients that you're buying and selling homes with or helping them buy and sell homes. So what we do is we find out what they're good at, and then we can start to tailor their individual plan and use their profile so that they come alive within their plan. And we teach them, and by the way, it's been in my personal life, it's the best marriage counseling on the planet because you get insights into you. It's like a big mirror into like, oh, I see why I grew donkey ears right there. Or, I see why I'm succeeding over here because I keep doing this. Well, let's see how we can do that in this area of life, right? So it's an in-depth analysis. I get it, you get it, then I can speak to the client. So a lot of our clients will be like, he gets me or she gets me, and they speak my language. And that's true because we use the profile to help us move the client toward their goal.
Very cool.
Yep.
That's very cool. I was not aware of that. So
yeah. And it's
really cool.
it's a very interesting profile because it takes a lot of work. We have 2 or 3 trained profilers. It takes about 3 years to train a profiler. And what they do is they have an in-depth discussion over the phone with you for about an hour, and they kind of get the patterns of how you work. And these people are like big satellite dishes, and they just listen and they capture patterns. And what they do is they come up with this portfolio of kind of how you're wired. And then we use that to help you wire your life around how you're really wired.
Very cool.
Yep.
I have a question. Just ask about. She's from Carole Lahaye, Carol, out in Sainte-Thérèse, just north of Montreal, with Royal LePage Humania, and she was just she's saying like, I'd love to have more pop-by tricks. So I think you gave some cool tricks, and I think they're just want a couple more, and then I think we'll have to wrap it up.
Sure. So Popeye tricks, the first thing I'll tell you is get a coach, because I have 75 clients, and all the Popeye tricks I learned from all the hundreds of people that I've coached before, and all the 53 people that coach, and the coaches all share it. And it's a gigantic menagerie of tricks. Right. But I need a little bit more specific. For the next couple of months, sunscreen's good in the summertime. So as soon as you guys see sun, just like foreshadow that and start taking sunscreen to people and be like, hey, in case you haven't seen it, that's the sun. I don't want you to get burned. Take this over, So you can have fun with it too, because Popeyes are meant to be fun, because you're never going to take anybody anything they can't go get themselves. Like, you're not showing up with a Tiffany box like, I got you a ring. No, that's not how they work. You're the gift. It's just so that you break the ice a little bit with it, right? Like, I have a guy doing Kentucky Derby, and he's showing up with like the little bourbon for the mint julep for the cocktails. And then in our website, when you join any of our levels of membership, we publish what we call Popeye tags, which are sheets that you can print out and put a little hole in. And it talks about, I don't want to ever, you're the mint of my business, or something with the horse hoof for the mint julep for the Kentucky Derby, which is an American horse race. Or your referrals are the sunshine in my business, and there'll be like sunscreen there, right? And then all you do is take your business card and rubber cement it to the back and tie it with like raffia, string, ribbon, however creative you want to get, to the little Popeye gift, and just go take it to people.
Son, I look forward to seeing it soon.
It's almost realtor proof. We're close. We're like in the ballpark there. Almost realtor proof.
Cool. And you talked even about that reverse Popeye. That's the first time I've heard that. That was pretty cool. Like I said, like sitting in a donut shop and saying, hey, come on in, get your free dozen donuts. That's pretty crazy.
It's kind of fun. And the thing with it is that it's the people know what he's doing and why he's doing it, right? So if all you do is reverse Popeyes, that's very passive aggressive, right? But if you're out in the community and you're, taking gifts to people every now and then you have one where people come and get a gift from you, then everybody gets it. So that's what I mean with the symphony piece, is that, with the coach, what we do is take your goals and like help you write the music. to get you to where you want to go. And it may be a reverse Popeye where you live. It may not be a reverse. I don't know who's in your database. Like I had to go through this guy's database and go, okay, make a list of all the business owners you know. Because he told me, he goes, I don't know any business owners. And I was like, I don't believe it. So I went through and there were like 10 in there. One of the guys owned a donut shop. The other, I went through this the other day with a guy who did the same exercise, and one of his friends owns a doggy washing salon where you bring your dog in and they wash the hound.
Yes.
And so he's doing a party at that doggy washing salon on a Sunday that you bring your dog in to get washed. They have mimosas and coffee and rolls, and you hang out, and he pays for the doggy wash and hangs out with the people. They leave a little doggy treat bag. Like, this is supposed to be fun, guys. Have a good time.
Sorry, I'm thinking about that now because my dog got skunked about a month ago, and I'm like, yes, if you have clients with dogs, bring them skunk off because you need it.
There you go.
An extra.
Now, I will say we need to add that to the party, because I need to tell him now, if your dog gets skunked, don't bring him to the party because you'll ruin it for everybody else. So I'm going to have him add that to the invitation now.
Well, but I mean, at the same time, like my dog got skunked about a month ago. When she gets wet, you're like, okay. And I'm like, I need to get her to a bath. So
yeah, for sure.
All right. I'm going to, oh, nice. She's just saying she's got a permit in January. So I think you're giving her some awesome ideas. Nice.
There you go.
Definitely. I mean, in terms of that, like, I really appreciate you, Billy, and bringing up, like you said, the free coaching call and those things. And I mean, I'll say, I know last time, I had some situation arise. I couldn't be the person who facilitated the webinar. I'm so happy I'm here today. This was such a cool webinar. And awesome. I'll invite everybody who is on here. I mean, it was really cool Joanne is really lucky to have such an awesome coach. And I can't imagine what the culture is like in your office. I've always been curious about it. So,
right.
Because like you said, I mean, 53 other coaches, average of 9 years. You guys must, love what you do. It's really cool.
It's true. Grudges don't last too long because we got to see each other too much. So they go quickly here.
Yeah. So I'll invite everybody, by the way, in RLP Network. You can check out the Sales Success webinar library. I will mention also royallepage.ca/training. If you click near the top, you'll see webinars. You'll always see our upcoming webinars. We're doing one in a couple weeks, or on May 3rd. You probably got the invite just yesterday on how you can leverage Gmail on your Mac and iOS devices. We really have talked to many agents who are, have been flustered a little bit by it, so we wanted to try to make it as clear as possible. So just royallepage.ca/training. You can check out all of our webinars coming up. And I will also mention on royallepage.ca/training, my team is out on the road right now. I mean, I see some of the people here in Quebec. Perhaps you were at one of the trainings. They're going over the next 2 weeks in the Quebec area around Montreal. Mode is in Quebec City right now doing live training, helping agents understand how to convert more leads to sales. So you can check it out, royallepage.ca/training. Check it out today, especially if you're in Quebec. If you're in the Calgary area, I think as well as Calgary, Edmonton, and also in the on the Vancouver Island. So I'll mention that just for everybody, royallepage.ca/training. You can find all of that there. So looking forward to you guys tuning in and checking out our stuff. And I want to say thank you. Firstly, I want to say thank you so much, Billy. This was a really, really cool webinar. And I know I kind of trailed off in my questions, because I'll be honest, like, you really got me thinking about a lot of things. And I know a lot of people in the chat said that as well. Like, I know a lot of people who are leaving this webinar and opening up their phone and going through. And like you said, I love the idea of having a friend. I've done that. I remember once I was trying to help a realtor go through their contact database, and it was line by line, Jim Smith. Do you know this person? You know what I mean? And it was like, oh yeah, I haven't talked to him. No. We'll get rid of that, And so having that is cool. So I want to thank you so very much for your time, your attention, this awesome presentation. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Of course, if we didn't have an audience, these wouldn't be possible. So thanks everybody for tuning in. And we hope we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.